Side Scrollers is brought to you by you. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/sidescrollers. It's time for Side Scrollers on youtube.com with me, Stuttering Craig. I like movies that have sand in them. Wow.
He doesn't like it in his mouth.
And producer extraordinaire, Travis Key.
I don't like the texture in my mouth.
What? And brought to you by you, the G2 community at patreon.com/sidescrollers. And now, broadcasting from our homes, it's time for the #1 gaming and entertainment podcast on planet Earth. It's time for Side Scrollers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome on out to Side Scrollers on youtube.com and rumble.com and twitch.tv. What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. I'm Stuttering Greg. Welcome to the #1 video game and entertainment podcast on planet Earth. It's Side Scrollers. Man, do we got a good one today. We're talking AI. We're talking Barbie. We're talking Disney Plus. We're talking Tony Bennett. We're talking so much stuff. We got so much going on, as well as it's gonna be a good show. Good show. I'm excited for today's guest, first time on. But of course, let's introduce the rest of the team. Joining us, as always, from his crown, somewhere in Middle America, it's Travis Keys.
I'm glad I get to hear myself say that every morning.
What's that?
Nothing. I'm not saying it again. Let's move on.
Also, Blabs.
He doesn't like the texture in his mouth.
Oh, I see. I see. That every morning, yes. Well, I mean, if you want, I'm sure we can find something else more ridiculous that you said. And put it in the intro. You like, but hey, whatever.
We'll mix it up in a couple of months.
We'll see. We'll see. It'll just be a daily occurrence where we.
I'll just say this. I always told myself I'm never going to be the person who doesn't say something because somebody may cut it wrong. And now I'm reconsidering that.
Welcome to the internet, Travis. Congratulations. We did it. So, yeah, we got a big show today. You guys watching over on YouTube, hello. You guys watching over on Rumble, what's going on? I am excited to be hanging out with you guys on a wonderful Friday. First off, how was everybody's week? Was it great?
Yeah. It's nice being back.
Yeah.
No tree death, so I'm good.
No tree death? Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys watching today, when you guys are thinking about like, hey, I gotta, turn off the show. I gotta go do something else. I got some honeydews I gotta do. I got something going on at work. I encourage you guys, give us 5 more minutes. Just give us 5 more minutes. Hang out with us a little bit longer because the show is always going, always changing. We always got something to talk about. So just hang out with us just a few minutes longer. But joining us today, first time on the show. I'm excited. This is crazy. This gentleman has you said 100,000 YouTube
almost
subscribers.
100K.
Almost 100,000 YouTube subscribers, and is not monetized on YouTube.
Correct.
That is, I'm very intrigued to hear this story. Let's introduce Mr. GrantGregory, straight from the other side of the world. How are you, sir?
Doing good, and I do enjoy many textures in my mouth. So
noted. All right. Now
first question answered. No, I do have a question though. So will it change your perspective when you finally get your 100K button? If you're like, because I've never got one, but I would imagine I would be they gave me one and I was monetized, I'd be a little happier than if they gave me one and I'm not. But
what the biggest problem is, if I'm not monetized, I've got to pay for the bastard.
Seriously?
So, yeah.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, it's only $156, so I'm willing to do that. So just so I've got it, so I can just nuke my channel.
So let me get this right. If you're not actively making YouTube money, even if you get 100K subs, they won't send you a fucking button.
Yeah, and there's a good chance you have to it's really hard to get a button if you're not monetized. There's a couple of people who I know who have been in the same situation because they post like a lot of memes and other stuff like that, which is deemed reused content. So they get rejected, but they eventually get through, and then they get sent a bill with the plaque. So
there's usually a lot of things I want to say about YouTube, but this just goes right into the rest of them.
Well, once again, so that's a great, actually an excellent example as to why you should be following us over on Rumble, over at rumble.com/sidescrollers. We are growing a little bit more every single day, approaching 2,500 followers over there, which is great. All organic growth there just for side scrollers and the gameplay stuff. And it's actually really important because today, look, you're going to see a lot of me today because we got side scrollers now. Coming up later, the Mario Funathon continues, which, by the way, I just want to point this out. Today may be the day. It may be the day that I beat Yoshi's Island. I'm on the last level, and I'm on 6-2 of 8, and I'm making my way through the entire game. I think today may be the day I may beat the game finally. After 32 days of playing it, since the first day I played it, Yoshi's Island today. And on top of that, this afternoon, which will be a Rumble exclusive stream because I don't want to do 3 streams a day over on YouTube. Rumble exclusively, I'll be watching Slam Ball at rumble.com/sidescrollers as Slam Ball returns for the first time in 20 years. I'll be watching it. Why not on YouTube and why on Rumble? Because I'm pretty sure I can stream the game and have it on screen and not get in trouble for that. So that's a big reason why. So we're only on Rumble, not on Twitch, not on Kick, not on YouTube. Only on Rumble. That'll be around 5:30 today. Rumble.com/sidescrollers. Craig watching Slam Ball, the game that he helped innovate 20 years ago. Not really. But either way, it's going to be fun. So make sure you guys get over there. So look, we got a big one today. As I said earlier, we're going to talk AI here with Grant, which leads us to talking about Blabs had kind of an issue this morning. What happened, Blabs? I saw this tweet and I feel like it's important to talk about. Kind of walk us through what was happening here.
Right. So today it was downpouring when I was going to work at 5:30 in the morning. So there I am about 5:35, 5:40 in the morning, fueling up my car. And all of a sudden, I'm just, spaced out, holding the nozzle, it's going, all good. I'm spaced out, looking around, it's pouring. And all of a sudden, my foot is just getting wet. And I'm like, dang, what is this water, man? And then I looked down. No, it wasn't water. It was the freaking gas from the valve connected to the hose, connected to the nozzle, like the nozzle, this part of it. It's like, this is the, in the car, here, was just dripping all the way out, all over my foot. Just all over it. So I was like, oh, shit. And I was just covered in gasoline and I had to go to work. Just covered in gasoline on my foot. It was awful. Like, my nose was just blocked full of, petroleum. It was disgusting. It was awful.
You should have recorded it. We could have put it on the segment on the Full Aussie.
I used to dock myself on the location and all that. Or else I would have been like, fuck this shit. I've done like a retards in car segment.
I used to manage a gas station, and you could get that gas station shut down for that.
But it was so weird, right? Because as soon as I let go of it, obviously it stopped, and then I started it again, and it didn't leak anymore. And I was like, I did absolutely nothing but just release this trigger and let it go again.
So there was no shut off when your car was filled up. It overflowed straight onto your foot. Is that what you're saying?
No. It leaked from the other end of the nozzle. So
from the hem.
So let's say the nozzle is here and it's just inserted into the car. That was fine. There was no leakage there. It was over here. They're connecting the hose to the nozzle piece where you have the handle that was just leaking all over the place.
Hey, Blabs.
That means somebody drove off with the thing in their car, and instead of replacing it like they're supposed to, they just put it back on. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
It was awful.
Blabs, this is actually a really important story, and I'm glad we're talking about this. But there's one thing I don't want to floss over here, is that Trav's managed a gas station. So we're gonna add this. We're gonna add this. Yes, we're gonna add this to Travis's long line of things that Travis has done. And so just to be clear, Travis, we have added the gas station manager, adult store clerk. At some point, I believe you said you worked at the post office, Travis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Security guard at the nude beach from Gay Men.
That's right. There's this is all amazing stuff. Like, what a resume
I want to see
have.
your resume, man.
I've had a lot of different jobs, different places. Yes.
I love it. I love everything about it.
I am kind of old, so.
All right. Well, let's continue the story, Blab. So you feel gasoline.
Pissed. Yeah, I was pissed as fuck. I didn't go in and bitch at them because I was running late for work at that point. It's like, shit, I gotta open up because I'm the first person in the building. I have the keys. So I I drive down the street to go to my job. I turn everything on, and then I'm really smelling it as I'm walking. I'm like, I am just covered in gasoline. So after everything is up and running, everything's all set to go, ready to roll for the day. I run into the women's bathroom, take my shoe off, take my sock off, put my foot in the sink, try to scrub off the gasoline because it went through my shoe and my sock. I doused my sock in the water and my shoe, so much to the fact that when I turned my shoe upside down, all the water came out of the shoe. And then I was like, I didn't think this through because now I have to walk back. So basically, I had to put my wet shoe back on and go back to my desk, and then I had to take it off. And I just left my shoe soaking on the floor for like for the rest of my shift, including the sock just on the floor. And then when my coworker came in, she's like, "How's your morning going?" I'm like, "Well, let me tell you."
Blab.
So she was like, "Okay."
I learned a lesson in my early 20s.
What were you doing then?
Put a bag in your trunk. I'm not going to tell you why I learned this lesson, but put a bag in your trunk with an extra pair of shoes, socks, and pants and underwear in there.
Yeah, I always walk around with like some emergency clothing, but I didn't think of shoes in the summertime. Usually that's like in the winter or something, if your car gets stuck, you have extra gloves and all that because, it's freezing cold out there. But no, yeah, so I had to drive home with one shoe on, one shoe off. So I basically put my shoe back on, socking away, squish, squish, like all the way back to my car. And I drive the manual, so 3 pedals, right? So I had one shoe for the clutch, and then I was barefoot for the gas and the brakes. And I'm like, this is so weird. It's usually, 2 shoes or, both barefoot. I'm like, whee!
I feel like, in addition,
and this was at 5:40 in the morning. I'm like, what else can happen? Go on, tell me. And then one of the guys that I work with, I was like, how's your day going? And I was like, well, let me tell you. So I told him, and he's like, so then he goes to my shoe and he smells my shoe and he's like, it smells like terrible gasoline. That's awful.
Hey,
that guy was looking for an excuse just to smell your clothing.
No, he's gay, so he's not into me. He's 100% gay.
At least nobody flipped a cigarette outside your work.
Oh my God, I'd die.
Because you could have went up and played.
Could you imagine? Like as every step Blabs takes, it leaves a little trail of gasoline behind. So this guy flicks his cigarette and it's 50 yards away, and it's just slowly making Blabs is like turning around. No, it's like the fugitive running. And it's just the gas is slowly catching up. No.
So yeah, that was my morning, and that happened before like 6 in the morning. I was like, how else can my day get better? Do tell me.
I mean, this is phenomenal.
I was trapped at my desk because I couldn't get up. I don't want to put a wet, soggy shoe back on. So, when you really got to pee, you just kind of like, damn it. So eventually I had to go and pee.
I like days like today because it makes the things that happen in my life not seem so serious.
I beat Travis's tree
days.
Because
I don't get covered in gasoline at any days. So, I'm good.
Well, not since his 20s.
Yeah, well.
At least not since your 20s, bro.
Well,
covered in something anyway.
Today's theme is about AI. We're talking to AI with Grant here, and Grant is big in the AI space. And before the show, well, Grant, I'll tell you, you were an artist in the AI space. Did you? And it looks like in my preview, are you creating something?
Oh yeah, I just finished just with what Blabs was saying. I just did another one just then. Well, this is the prelude to the.
Okay, can I show this?
Yeah, go for it.
This is an artist rendering, an AI artist rendering of Blabs' morning. Let's check it out in real time. Here we are. There's Blabs.
So that's the before. That's the a few artistic liberties might have been taken. One, she's not at the petrol Bowser. 2, she's in a short skirt. But let's just forget about that. So the next one is how I imagined her cleaning her foot.
And I swear this one looks like Scarlett Johansson to me.
It looks like me, but then if you keep looking, it doesn't look like me anymore. It's one of those weird things. The longer you look, the more you
angles,
see.
Yeah.
Can we go? Actually, Brad actually has a really good question. Why is she holding honey?
Well, that's a normal thing for Blabs, isn't it? I thought she was.
I just walk around with a jar. Yay!
If anybody ever wants to cosplay as Blabs at any events, now you got to carry around a giant jar of honey and have it squirt. a short skirt apparently on.
Is it honey or is it gasoline?
Well, I mean, you don't want to get into her drinking habits, so let's just say it's honey.
I'd like to think that it's a bottle of her own pee that she's always
Craig!
carrying.
Wow.
Well, if that's the case, Blabs, you definitely need a little bit more water in your diet.
Oh no! You need some vitamins, bro.
But no wonder
Alright.
it smelled.
Man, look, I can already tell we're gonna have a great show today. If you guys, once again, so we have Mr. Grant Gregory joining us. You can find him over on YouTube.com and at Mr. Grant Gregory. You can find him over here. Let's go say hello to him right here, as well as you can find him over on Kick, which is great. So you could potentially be his 100th follower. I'm number 99. I hit the follow button just a second ago. So you guys go over there and follow him over on Kick, which was where all the cool kids are going. So all right, man, we got so much to talk about, and I feel like what program are you using to make those AI images?
It's not just one; it's multiple ones. Yeah.
No,
So it's
hold
not
that.
just
Hold that. Because
Yeah.
hold on to that. Okay, good. We're gonna get into that in just a little bit. Excellent. Okay. Oh man, that's exciting stuff. We got a couple
more programs and a certain panelist's jobs in his life. Put it that way.
Excellent. Like I feel like we could use AI to make our thumbnails every single day. That'd be better than me making stupid thumbnails. That'd be great. You're gonna teach me how to do that.
We talk about some pretty crazy things, so the AI might not. I mean,
give me an example, and we'll see what we can come up with.
Well, you talk about AI versus
John
Hollywood.
Stamos. No, yeah, John Stamos specifically.
John Stamos versus artificial intelligence.
I'm just thinking yesterday when we were talking at the end about how Craig was going to go become a VTuber, and conversations like that may influence the AI generated pictures, let's say.
Well, let me say this. Yesterday's show really wore me down. Like I was legitimately like questioning a lot after yesterday's show. Just like, man, what are we even doing? Right? Like not we, like just what is the earth doing? You know? And here we are. I'm back. I feel good. I need a little time to refresh, step away. And I feel okay. Got an energy drink in me. So I'm hyped up on caffeine, way too much caffeine this morning. But here we are. All right, we're going to hit some quick hits. But we do have some super chats here to read really quick. Blake came in with the $2. Says, Lizzie, yum, yum.
You gotta pretend you're eating a hot dog.
Oh, I will not. But Blabs, you can. Go ahead, Blabs. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead, Blabs.
Hi. No, I'm not doing it.
Go ahead, Blabs.
No, it's not happening.
Say it.
No. I won't do it.
So what we can now do is AI generate.
Oh no!
I'm already on it.
I love it. And Blake came back and says, Blabs made a fuel of herself. Let's go, Blake. That's
that was
great.
good. That was good.
Pretty outstanding right there. That's outstanding.
I know a lot of people don't like puns. I love me a good pun, man.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with puns. Big Top came in with the $20 direct donation. Says, hey, yo, just want to say Trav's been killing it. And Craig, today is not the day. JK. Thanks so much, Big Top. $20 direct
I
donation.
blame all the weed I've been smoking before the show.
Lit up. Travis high as a kite whenever he comes on the show.
It's like, yo, what's going on?
And then Dude came in with the $5 Rumble rant. Says, everyone knows AI art algorithms were made by software engineers tired of paying for their furry Rule 34 art.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Please tell me you don't know what Rule 34 is, Craig.
I know. Yes. Listen,
Okay.
I've been on the internet for almost 20 years.
I don't know. I was hoping you'd have a little innocence. Anyway, go on.
Blabs.
And Blabs' mind, you're very innocent, Craig.
That's cute. That's
and
really
that's
cute.
Sweet.
It's good. It's good. You
Oh,
clearly didn't watch the old Screw Attack stuff, which is great. So. All right, let's get into it. It's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everybody in the world's favorite segment, including Grant's. It's time for hard news.
This is hard news.
All right, let's go. We got some quick hits to start off with, including a death that has rocked the world of one blabbering collector here.
What?
Well, you're the one who sent this over. This is major
yeah,
news.
it's pretty big news. Tony Bennett has passed away at age 96.
Tony Bennett, one of the greatest, silkiest, smooth singers of all time, who no doubt has at one point womanized somebody with his sweet, sweet voice and made them feel extremely uncomfortable.
I can't wait for him to get canceled tomorrow.
I know.
Yeah, after he dies. That's so sad.
That's literally my first thought was like, surely there's somebody on Twitter who's like, Tony Bennett did this in 1954. You know? And Tony Bennett said this to me in 1963, and now I'm coming out. I'm now brave enough to say it. It's like you're also on your deathbed. But Tony Bennett, a legend.
He likes to hold his hands up in the air, doesn't he? All the photos of him, even the one on the side.
Yeah, it's true. They always like that, huh?
That was kind of his thing, you know?
Hands.
But Tony Bennett, I mean, everybody's heard Tony Bennett. I mean, he's just a silky smooth voice. He's got that like the lovely old man thing going on, or I mean, he did obviously, but
Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, what's he done lately though?
Like he died.
He hasn't done much in the last couple hours, has he?
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Just totally raw, guys. It's ridiculous, but funny. So he won 20 Grammys. 20
That's
Grammys
awesome.
in his life, which
back when Grammys actually meant something too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was still working in the industry. He was just producing music, not writing it anymore. So,
but he sang with everybody, like Lady Gaga, Amy Winehouse, Aretha Franklin. Like he did it with everybody. Queen Latifah, I think.
So this is tough.
Everybody.
This actually makes me very sad because Tony Bennett, he died at his hometown in New York, which is awesome. He went back home, right? But he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2016. So the last 7 years.
That's probably, and even before that, he was probably showing signs. So that's probably why he wasn't performing.
That's tough, man. Well, I mean, also it's hard to perform at all when you're like in your 80s.
Also, he was 89 then.
And even before you're diagnosed with it, you probably have memory loss and shit. So he might not even have been able to remember his own songs. And that's sad to say, but true.
Well, they say with Alzheimer's, you lose them twice, you know, and I think that's the worst part is, you lose them because you see, I watched this video of this guy talking to his dad who had just, say pretty far along with Alzheimer's, and his dad they were hanging out in a garage and his dad was kind of staring at this bike rack and he was like, what are these used for? And he's like, well, you put your bikes up there. And his dad was like asking like really basic questions like, hey, what if I'm hungry? What do I need to do? And he's like, well, you can go to the store. And he's like, well, how do I get money? He's like, well, you have money, Dad. So the dad opens up his wallet and he's like, well, I have $13. He's like, no, Dad, you have money in the bank. He's like, well, how do I get money out of the bank? And it was like really endearing the way he was speaking to his dad, but it was also really sad to hear because the dad clearly had like a great heart and he was really like sweet, but he was just confused. And I think Alzheimer's there are obviously worse ways to go, but when it comes to just a long battle and slowly losing your mental facilities and faculties, whatever the word is, I think Alzheimer's is like maybe the worst. It's so sad to see people just deteriorate.
And dementia, yeah, for sure.
Well, that usually goes hand in hand with it, unfortunately. Like I've dealt with that with my family and everything, and the amount of times that I realize in retrospect that my great grandmother never remembered me because she was always like, "Hey, you," instead of saying my name. Or it's a pretty tough thing, and some people are lucky enough that they've got the ability to understand they're losing their faculties and hide it from the family. Otherwise, it's absolutely devastating. Like I've seen people talk to their loved ones in mid conversation, they feel like they're talking to a stranger because they don't know. They literally just forget everything, and it is absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah, and your grandma probably recognized your face, just couldn't remember your name. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's probably what went. And I had this moment. My great grandma had it, and how I found out is one day they just found her driving around She kept stopping and getting gas and just driving, and couldn't find her way home. Didn't remember where she was going or how to get home. And shortly after that, at Halloween, my mom figured we'd go visit her, so we all dressed up in our Halloween costume. My mom wasn't dressed up, but us 4 kids were, and we went to her front door and knocked and said, "Hey, Grandma." She said, "Oh, don't you guys look nice? Here's your candy. Bye." Closed the door in her face.
That's rough.
She didn't even recognize my mom.
Yeah,
So.
that's tough. And anytime somebody passes after, from Alzheimer's or having Alzheimer's, like that's, I think, we were here kind of giggling at the start, it's like, oh, what has he done lately? It's like, oh, he died, and then all of a sudden, like my tone's like, oh, Alzheimer's. And like my mind shifted. It was like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
really bad.
and even for his family, is, he may not even remember it, but I'm sure he has moments of where I don't want those people to be scared, because I could imagine how I would be. I forgot everything. You know what I mean? And now I'm here in this, what I don't even recognize my own room or what I'm wearing. Who put me in these fucking clothes? You know what I'm saying? Right. By the way, it's Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's. There we go.
They're alternating timers.
They're all timers. They're all time greats right there, which is great. Hey, Mike says you can have Alzheimer's and still be president. There you go.
This is true.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Let's go to some happier news. A follow-up from this past week, which, hey, I would love to show you the article. But you know what? I will show you the article. But the Daily Mail says I cannot because I'm using ad blocker. But Vanna White agrees to a $100,000 an episode deal for Celebrity Wheel of Fortune. By the way, that's not for Wheel of Fortune. That's Celebrity Wheel of Fortune.
That's the big great celeb. No one cares about that, because the celebrities they're getting are someone who's been on, Days of Our Lives in 1987. It's not even. Get Johnny Depp on there. I'll watch.
Get Johnny
Depp spinning a wheel.
Well, it's a big deal because Pat Sajak, it was, if you recall, he's retiring, and it was like, well, what's going to happen to the show? And my thought was that Vanna White's just going to, it's like, it's time for a new era in Vanna in Wheel of Fortune. Which Grant, you are you familiar with Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah, we have our own Aussie version of it. But yeah, so the American one we rarely ever get to really see because of the syndication laws. So if we've got an Australian version of the show, then we don't see the American one unless it's a specialty thing. But I know who it is because I've seen different memes and that over the years, and lots of funny clips, especially when people have blown like $1 million chance. So as soon as I saw that, I'm like, okay, let's check out the American one, because it is slightly different to what we have. Ours is a toned down variation from it, but yeah, it's I mean, hey, at least he got to go out retiring, and he didn't go out like Trebek did. So
that's fascinating to me that you guys don't get American Wheel of Fortune. I find that fascinating.
Oh, that's something that you see all over the world. There's
dude, we don't even get American news. That's gonna blow your mind.
Well, and I understand like having, how American Idol, then they got European Idol,
Australian
and all that.
Idol.
And I get all that, but shows like Wheel of Fortune, that's just so ingrained in culture. To me, that would be like Friends. Like when Friends was on, they didn't make a copy of Friends and put an Australian Friends. It was
You've never seen Australian Friends?
Was there an Australian Friends?
No.
But you see my point. They didn't remake Seinfeld or MASH or
Well, no, because they were full of white people. So
true.
Grant, I actually have a really important question for you. In the Aussie version of Wheel of Fortune, is there like a TV girl who flips the letters, or is it all done automatically?
Yeah, there was at one stage she was actually getting paid higher. Because she was more popular, because we had one guy who was there for like 20 something years, and then he moved on to a different show, and then they just kept getting different hosts, but she was the one that was sticking around, so she ended up being the highest paid for a while, but then she got old, and then they went to the LCD screen where she just goes up and she just didn't even touch the screen. She just walked past going.
I was going to ask, is she an 80-year-old woman who looks 30? Like Vanna?
No, she was
Okay.
at that stage. She was 40, but she looked like she was 80.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We got the opposite here.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you,
lots of booze.
$30 million a year make you look good.
Oh, dude, it's hard to look ugly when you're a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
Right? You have like a cook for you, a physical trainer, physical therapist, massage therapist, acupuncturist. Like, they have everything. They have a whole team.
But you're
working for
also
them.
rich, so automatically you're beautiful.
Oh, true.
Wait, I found her. This is the Australian version of this was, I guess, the original presenter of.
Do you have a moustache?
No. This is the Wheel of Fortune. This is the Vanna White of Australia Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, Adriana Zenides. So, but she's gone now.
Vanna White sounds a lot cooler than Adriana Zenides, or does it? I don't know. These are
Zenides sounds cool. Zenides.
Yeah, she was. I think she was Greek descent initially. I mean, I don't think it changed, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome. Well, good for Vanna White making $100K for a 30-minute show produced in real time. I think that's good for her. I'm very proud of Vanna White for sticking it to the man. Now, only if we can get through this writer's strike, which who knows? One day. All right, let's move on. There's been a greenlit show on Disney Plus. I did not. I put this on the run sheet today, guys. This is kind of shocking. We talked about Disney, and I've been a big Disney fan my entire life up until the insanity of the last few years.
Why? What happened?
I don't know. Just things, whatever. But Disney Plus has greenlit a show called Pauline, and this, on the surface, Pauline just sounds like a regular show. It is when I describe this to you, you'll be like, "Oh, well, what's wrong with this?" It's a coming of age show starring an 18-year-old, right? About coming in and
I thought she was 16.
I saw 18.
The initial reports was she was younger than that, but I think they retroactively changed something.
Okay.
Because she's supposed to be in high school.
So you guys you're familiar with this?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I sent it to you, so.
Yeah. Oh, you sent this already?
Yeah.
Okay, good, Blabs. Thanks.
Yeah, I did a story on it with Culture about it a few months back when it was first brought forward.
Well, let's talk about this. So this is a greenlit show that is going to be on Disney Plus. And
so it's originally German, from what I understood.
Yes,
of course it is.
So this is once again, this is a Disney Plus, has Pixar movies, Mickey Mouse, National Geographic, but Pauline it is a product of the same team behind Netflix, How to Sell Drugs Online Fast, and the
that show was bullshit. I got caught by the cops in like 10 minutes.
Pauline
Worst documentary ever.
Terrible how-to guide.
Is also the name of the show's 18-year-old protagonist who accidentally becomes pregnant after a one-night stand, which, hey, that happens, but usually not on Disney Plus shows. Just going to throw it out there. Burdened by the stress from school and other aspects of her life, catching feelings from a one-night stand like Lucas is the last thing she needs right now, especially when Lucas is actually the devil himself.
That's such clever play on the word, like Lucifer and Lucas. Like, how do they? I mean, how many writers did it take to do that?
Listen, she is impregnated by the devil in this. Once again, this Disney Plus show, an 18-year-old impregnated by the devil.
When I think of coming of age, I think of young German girls getting pregnant by the devil. I mean, it goes hand in hand. who needs something like like Stand By Me or anything like that when this is what kids are going to have when they grow up.
And on Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep in mind this is Disney that refused to show the Sound of Freedom movie. But they want this.
They backed out of it. But says for a long time, the series has been and still remains a project very close to our hearts. I guess the producer or the purpose behind the show said, "We're thrilled that Disney Plus loves this coming of age story as much as we do, and that we've been able to begin filming with such an amazing cast and crew." There you go. So congratulations to the show on I just can't even believe I'm saying this. The show on Disney Plus about an 18-year-old being impregnated by the devil after a one-night stand.
You would think that since Disney owns 40% of Hulu, they would just fucking put it on Hulu.
Right.
But that's the thing. This isn't an adult content. This is aimed at kids. That's the point of them doing it that way. That's why it's not on Hulu.
Which is ridiculous.
People don't even know about this yet because it's German, so it's not really making the waves. Just wait.
Well, I have some German family friends. I'm gonna ask them how they feel about this shit.
It's crazy. Who would want to show this to their kids? I don't understand.
Retro Jim over here says no surprise from Disney, and I think at this point, I'm speaking as a dad of a 9 and 11-year-old daughters, right? I'm at a point to where when something comes out from Disney in particular, Disney, Pixar, I feel like I have to screen it before I watch my kids watch it.
That didn't used to be
sad.
The case.
That never was the case ever.
How sick is that when you think about it? Like it's they add that plus into it, and it changes the whole idea of what Disney is. Ever since they went Disney Plus, it's just like plus monetization. You have to make sure that you're vetting what your children do for a Disney show. You can't put anything on for your kids now without having to be worried about what's been thrown down their throat.
Well, and think about back in the day when we were kids, Craig. People would go drop their kids off at the theater to see a Disney movie and not even go with them, right? Because they knew Disney movies were for children. And yes, there may be...
But they'd always have that one disturbing scene in everything. Like, let's be clear, there was always that one scene in every Disney film or everything that ruined your childhood when you think about it retroactively.
What was the movie where they actually showed a clip of porn in the window? I think it was...
Oh no, it wasn't porn. It was just a lady. It was her. It was like a topless lady or something.
Yeah, I forget which movie it was. Was it Rescuers or something? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was the Rescuers. Like they're panning down, and there was a lady who was like kind of topless
in
or
a
something.
building. Yeah,
right. And what's weird is like when you go back and you look at, there's always these underlying themes with Disney that were like you'd see the animators, they put like like the little wiener in Little Mermaid, the guy.
There's sex written in the stars in Lion King.
Right. Like there was all these like little things that were subliminal. I guess that was the idea, these subliminal messaging. But now it's just so in front of you, just right there, with Disney. And
as a child, that shit, I didn't even worry about or pay attention to or whatever. Did it affect us? I don't know. But
well, I know that I'm not alone, and I'm going to ask the parents watching this. Do you feel like you have to pre-screen stuff like for your kids today, specifically when it comes to Disney content, which is just crazy to even think, just to even say that, to pre-screen Disney content? I am just so unbelievably shocked that I have to do that. Even just saying that,
I really enjoyed the Netflix show Sabrina, right? But I have a problem with it. It's geared towards children because it's content that was based off of that Sabrina the Teenage Witch cartoon, and it was off of that other Hart girl. The actress, her last name was Hart. Melissa Joan Hart did the live action Sabrina, and that was all geared towards children. So they reboot this show, and they make it very dark about the devil, and she's the devil's child, and all this, and call it Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Now, who do you think's going to watch that?
Well,
teenagers, And I expect that from Netflix. I don't expect it from Disney.
Well, there was a show that my daughters like to watch called iCarly. Do you ever hear of iCarly before?
I've heard of iCarly. I've never saw it. It was on Nickelodeon, wasn't it? So
it was a Nick show, and iCarly was a show that was like 2012, 2013, and it's about a couple kids who have like a web show, and it's really popular. They're a really popular web show, but they're like in high school or like middle school, high school, right? And there's like flirty, lovey stuff between some of the characters. Like one of the girls there's a boy who's a producer on the show, and they're all friends, but whatever. They're all friends, but there's like later on in the series, it's like, well, iCarly and this boy like each other. There's these like little themes, right? They rebooted iCarly later on, like in the last few years, and it's still called iCarly. But now they're all adults. And now there's like really like it's about them getting it on and like sex. And it's like, what is this, like,
and that's on Nickelodeon?
I don't know. I've seen the reboot trailer, and even like watching the trailer, I was like, why? What? And my guess is that
I think it's for older audiences now, though, like for the kids who grew up with it.
But then why? Then I would just not call it iCarly.
Yeah, call it something else and have it be a reboot or later in their life. But if I recall, that producer produced a lot of shows with kids who then later came out with claims about him being real fucking creepy.
Yeah, it was not like that thing Nickelodeon had that issue with Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
Yes, Ariana Grande was in that show. She was like asking them. He was asking that like her when she was 16 to send her photos of her feet and shit like that, and put her feet in goo and have her put her feet in her mouth, and that was all from him.
Yeah,
put her feet in gasoline,
And by the way, Grant, I see that you have artwork happening in the back end. If you at any time, if you want to, if you want to interrupt what we're saying and me to pull up this, I will gladly will.
Oh, we'll throw this one up now. This goes to what happened a little bit earlier on.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Why is Blabs in a chicken suit?
Well, they're always in furry sort of costumes or something or other.
Oh, it's a furry.
I am not a furry. I just want it to be known.
Okay. Well, no,
I'm not a furry.
In all fairness, you're more feathery than furry. That's why I put you in a bird one.
I'm not a bird either.
You're an old bird.
Allegedly.
Bird is the word.
But I know that obviously seeing the direction that Disney has taken the last few years, here's the problem with it. This is, as somebody my age, 42 years old, who grew up really loving Disney, and loving the vision behind the company, the creativity behind the company. Who literally, I did an internship at Disney. Like I interned, I worked at the parks.
Did you actually?
Yeah. I literally worked at the studios, what used to be MGM, now it's Hollywood Studios. I worked there, right, for a summer, and I did an internship there. I saw the inner workings of this company, and I was like really impressed with it. They inspired me in a major way, and to see these sharp turns that they take, just from an overall product, it's crazy. It's sad, and when I see like a live stream from Disney World, like somebody will be like live streaming, and I'm like, oh, that's so much fun. Like last night, this on YouTube, this I was suggested a live stream from Epcot, so I popped it on, and I get this nostalgic rush that flows over me because I love Epcot. I love everything about that. I love walking around the World Showcase, and I love going into Mexico and riding the little ride there, and I like going around, like that stuff is nostalgic for me. It's so fun to do. But then I have to compartmentalize that and realize that this company is just doing some really nasty things right now. And that's really hard. It's really hard for me.
Well, and I don't even understand because they have other options. They own ABC. Put it on ABC.
Well, ABC is for sale right now.
I was going to say they're just about to get rid of that, though. That's one of their assets that they're trying to fudge the books with. Yeah.
Well, and that could have been something that they didn't need to do. They could have put this more adult-oriented content or children, adult content, and put that on ABC and not have to sell it because then it'll bring views. But I just don't understand putting it on Disney
Plus of all things. Right.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. This is the new version of Disney. This is the thing that we're going to have to get used to. We're going to have to go, all right, well, Disney's no longer a children's entertainment. It's barely even family entertainment anymore. So we're just going to have to go, all right, well, Disney, we have to find out a new brand that we can go, this is safe for our kids. And, I guess it's hard.
I guess
because there isn't really any.
That they're selling ABC because wasn't it ABC Family? Wasn't that what it was?
There
So
was
I guess-
ABC Family. Yeah, there
I
was
guess
a
that
brand.
makes sense. They're trying to sell that shit.
Well, the weirdest thing about it is ABC Kids got turned into I can't even think what it is. One of the biggest YouTube channels out there. It's all just like toddler entertainment, and they got like 100 million subscribers.
Wow.
So yeah, it's like it's everywhere. Like, because YouTube for me is the new normal TV. I don't let my kids sit down in front of anything. I've got to be able to see what it is, and there's certain, I'm just going to call it mind-numbing stuff that my daughter, she's 4 years old, that she likes to watch, and I consider it like junk food for viewing. There's no substance to it. It's just it's flashy sort of stuff. I'd rather her watch that than sit her down in front of a pre-scripted Disney show,
Right.
because I'm gonna have to watch the entire series or the entire thing. Like, we watched Shrek for the first time as a family the other day. We went through, watched 3 Shreks. Didn't realize how much subtle adult things were even then. Like the whole Farquaad thing when he's watching her and you see the blanket rides. I'm like, oh god, I just showed my daughter that, like, sort of thing. Like, I didn't realize that, but that was subtle. That was clever, because that was something for the adults. The kids would never pick up. I've seen Shrek probably 100 times, and it was only now that I picked up on that.
Mhm.
But everything that's on Disney now, they're pronouns this, they're preaching other things. It's scary that I can't go. Disney was the brand that I grew up trusting.
Right. And you're right. I feel like there definitely needs to be a brand that, Illumination has been brought up. The idea that all they do is just produce entertainment. That's it. They're not trying to be a cultural force. They're the only cultural
What a modern
force.
twist.
Right. They're just trying to produce stuff that everybody would like to watch. And you've seen this, like you talk about the Minions, right? Minions and the Mario, right? Like, they're just fun.
King
They're just
Bob.
fun, silly movies, and it's great to watch. And I don't feel like I need to. I feel like there's a lot of parents nowadays who are looking at content that's being released, movies, trailers, movies, shows, whatever, and they feel like they have to walk on pins and needles and preview everything and scout out what their kids should and shouldn't be watching, which is so sad. It's so
It
sad.
is. I feel like a helicopter parent. That's the worst part about it. Like,
Yeah.
And like, I've only got a 4-year-old. I couldn't imagine what it's like with kids that are your age. I'd be freaking out over everything, like, because that's the demographic that they want to get kids, the indoctrination starting in.
Yeah,
So
I was just
it's-
going to
yeah.
say how you were talking about you used to be able to let kids just watch this stuff, and now you have to like pre-screen it. Well, and then you said something about letting them watch the stuff that's made by Illumination because it's just fun stuff for kids. Well, a lot of times when people do that on YouTube, people set their kids, they eventually end up in this like adult-oriented kid, looks like it's kids, but it's not stuff, which gets by on the kid app on YouTube, which is crazy.
Right. The Elsa Gate stuff from a few years ago, right?
Yeah, and it's still, that stuff still happens on there.
So
A lot
Benjamin,
of Eastern European channels that seem to slip through the cracks with it. It is crazy when you go through the YouTube Kids app. The amount of I'm not even going to call it borderline. It's over the line stuff that's allowed.
Well, it's funny because also Bob Iger recently just came out and said there are no, that they're not trying to groom kids and that they don't have any employees who have groomed kids, even though they have been arrested. And, they've probably already been charged for it. They will be charged for it. Like these adults working at the parks. Do you remember that? Was it last year? Whatever they got charged for?
Did he actually say we don't have any employees who do that? Like,
yeah,
there's like
he said
60
that the other day.
No, dude, that makes sense because they literally just fired about 40% of their work staff.
That's true. Yeah, they don't have them anymore.
Also, the definition of grooming is the practice or preparing or training somebody for a particular purpose or activity.
Sounds amazing how that just comes straight off your head. That's brilliant.
Like they groom their employees.
Well,
strange.
So here's the problem with that statement. You can't say that you don't have any employees. I haven't seen this. Blabs, if you have an article for this, please pull it up. Because if he said that, That's nonsense because it's literally you have 60,000 employees in the Disney bubble, right? Like I think it's actually considerably more, but just statistically speaking, like there's no way. There's got to be a few creeps in there, right? You can't say we do not because
this is the other definition of grooming. Sorry, Craig. The action of attempting to form a relationship with a child or young person with intent to manipulate or control them. That sounds like all of Disney content, does it not? To get them to buy merchandise? Isn't that manipulation and control? That's grooming.
Well,
it's more so convincing the parents to buy it.
We can go down this Disney grooming thing a lot more and spend, people talk about this ad nauseum, but I'd rather just kind of move on because we can do this all day. But
the only reason I mentioned that is he shouldn't make blankets, like you said, make blanket statements like that, because then we can actually look and say, yeah, you are. That's actually kind of your business model,
right? All right, let me read a few of these super chats real fast, if you don't mind. Abomination came in with a 5. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate that. Abomination says, been a while, so I don't remember much. Disney recently removed Little Demon from Disney Plus or Hulu, which had a similar plot. Saw it in a Jane Theory video. Well, I don't know if when it comes to removing content, something to keep in mind is that maybe they lost the rights. Maybe they didn't pay for the rights of it. I don't know if they own the rights or what. So just something to keep in mind.
Disney was only had distribution rights. It's not a Disney product, so that makes sense.
Right. Trevor Rhodes says, I never let my kids watch anything unless I'm watching it as well or have before. It's so bad these days. I have to read the library books my kids get. It's insane.
Can you imagine?
That's such a weird thing. It's just like, oh, yeah, don't check any books out of the library. Don't seek out knowledge yourself because we have to make sure that it's like, yeah, they do this sort of thing to get into your kids, so you become an overbearing parent, so the kid automatically will rebel and do the complete opposite. It's a multi-tiered attack. It's smart. I respect the strategy. I hate it, but I respect the strategy.
Winterfeld simply comes in and says, Disney ruined Star Wars. I think that
agreed.
Oh yeah, but they nailed it with the sequel. Those movies are great. Just ask Rhino, he'll tell you.
Mr. Mann says churches have a lot more groomers than the Disney company. Look, I think statistically, when you think of, once again, it just comes down to numbers, right? When it comes to churches or Disney or whatever, like churches, how many people go to church?
How many people work for the clergy? Yeah.
Like it's like, just statistically speaking, I think we can all agree there are creeps everywhere, but do you want to promote it? Like you've seen people that have been dragged out of churches who have done horrible things to kids. You've seen people dragged out of Disney that have done horrible things to kid. It's all wrong. It doesn't like this whataboutism of like, well, what about the church? You fucking idiot. It's all wrong, right? If you're like, well, what about no, you're wrong.
The whataboutisms are just stupid.
It's insane. It's insane. Like if you are messing with kids, you're on the list. You're on the list, right? You're on the list. The list that if I see you, I will do horrible things to you. There you go.
I can't find the article anymore. I did see it. I think I got an email, but I can't find it anymore. So maybe it was fake. But either way, I don't trust Bob Iger for anything.
I think that means it's more true now that it's gone.
Probably. I can't find it anymore.
Article's been Epsteined.
Backyard TARDIS came in with the re-membership for 14 months. Says, oh, blabs. Craig was there when Rule 34 came into existence.
Craig invented Rule 34.
Yeah.
He's not denying it, see?
NZZ says...
He invented DeviantArt?
Says Einstein's essays on Disney's from 1940s did a great job explaining how their films went beyond good or evil, creating the magic and escapism, which is why people love them. No longer like that.
Well, yeah, even look at like the Marvel shows. They're even turning against Disney now too because of that Secret Invasion show is just so horrific. That not even the shills like it. Imagine that. Imagine how bad that show has to be that not even your top dogs love it.
Hey, did you know Nick Fury's a deadbeat? He's the worst person on the planet.
There's a shock. Craig's like, who?
Nick Fury, he's the guy from Marvel. He's the
Samuel
guy that
Jackson.
Samuel Jackson plays.
He's the guy that hates snakes on a plane.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. All right, you guys, let's move on to our next story. I just think it's actually not even a story. It's not even on the run sheet, but I saw this and I thought this is the funniest freaking thing in the world. And this is not a political show. I don't feel it's a political show at all. But I do want to talk about this politician because politicians are the dumbest. Like this is so freaking funny to me. Do you know who Mitt Romney is?
Yeah.
So I didn't he run for president at one point?
Yeah,
He
he
ran
and lost
Against Obama, right?
against
he
Obama.
he ran in 3 primaries. He was the nominee once against Obama and lost. Yeah, I believe.
Okay.
And he was a senator for 20 years or whatever.
So
Mormon has like 6 kids.
He also voted to impeach Trump. One of the only few Republicans that did.
I don't know. I don't care. All I know is that a couple days ago it was National Hot Dog Day, and
Flood's in the chat just for it. Look at that.
I mean, you mentioned hot. I mean, I show a picture of Blabs eating a hot dog, and literally the next person that shows up in the chat is flawed. So he knew what story was coming up.
All right, listen, Flood's gonna love this because it was National Hot Dog Day, and Mitt Romney. This is so like such stupid. Generic politician.
Did he eat it with a fork? If he ate it with a fork, I'm gonna hit him in the head.
Like that?
Look at this. Walking down the halls of I'm guessing some political office with a hot dog in his hand and a hot dog hat. And I just want to watch this video because this is spectacular.
So he must be trying to run for president because that's when they do this stupid ass shit.
Here we go. Check this out.
Well, as you all know, today is National Hot Dog Day. And perhaps you also know that hot dog is my favorite meat.
What the fuck? So basically, he just said then, so my favorite meat is the ground up extra bits of hogs. And then I like them to put it in a cheap casing.
Hey, Grant, can we get an AI generated image of Flawed and Mitt Romney hanging out eating hot dogs?
I'm already working on it.
All right, let's go.
Perhaps you also know that hot dog is my favorite meat. I love hot dogs. I love them in buns. I love them out.
Look how he's holding this thing.
He's like, I love refrigerators. He's the same guy.
Refer to hot dog as a meat. It's like 6 different meats.
Dude,
like,
this is the reason why the Mitt Romney bot was a thing. The way in which he describes normal human interactions. I like this meat. I like it in bun. Dude, that's where it is. Who has a hot dog outside of a bun?
Well, that's what happens when your whole family's so rich for so long that you don't know how to use a fucking cash register.
Yeah, they don't know how to be in society properly.
Okay, I have so many problems with this. Number one, why is the hot dog actually like outside of the bun?
Yeah, it's out of it.
And
because they wanted you to see it.
Well,
because it's probably plastic.
And side to side.
Because they wanted you to see the ketchup too. And this is all, and you notice he's holding it towards the camera. Exactly. He's holding it towards the camera so you can see all that. And if it was down in there, you wouldn't be able to see it.
But like, how do you not get any sauce on the bun? You got to get sauce on the bun if you're going to do it. If you're going to go side to side, it's got to cover the whole thing. Like,
right. There's so much here. Like,
but that looks messy for the politician. You don't want it to be messy. It's a politics.
All I'm saying is you need to find somebody. You need to look at somebody the same way that Mitt Romney looks at a hot dog. Like just the sheer admiration that he has. All right. Yeah.
It reminds me of that. There was the you remember the Hot Girl song? It was a huge meme back in the early 2010s. It's like Hot Girls, we have problems too. Yeah. Someone did a parody of Mitt Romney. It's like Romneys, we have problems too. We're just like you, except we're robots. Like, dude, I think it's like it's art coming to life because this is ridiculous. This is the guy that was almost your president.
Yeah.
Look, it's like look at how relatable I am.
May I add that I grew up Mormon as well, so I know this for a fact. And he's heavily Mormon, way more than I was. He's not
are they hot
supposed to.
dogs in the tie?
That's
He's
what I
not.
was just looking at. I was trying to see if there's hot dogs in the tie.
No, those look like cows.
Yeah, he's not supposed to actually be
His
eating
favorite
hot
meat.
dogs
Just
according
beef.
to his faith. That's against his faith.
Oh, is
to
he
eat
Mormon?
hot dogs. Yes.
Well, hey,
What
it's
an
his,
idiot!
it's his favorite meat. Let's continue on and see what he has to say.
I love them in buns. I love them outside of buns. I love them with baked beans. I just like hot dogs. It's the best.
I like them in
meat
my
there is, without-
mouth. I like them in my ass. I like them in my.
Clip!
Wait.
Clip! Timestamp 1 hour on the dot. Thank you, Travis.
All right,
Question.
sending that to No
So-
Green Rocks. Here we go.
All of you who, like me, are celebrating National Hot Dog Day.
Hot dog.
Congratulations
Hot dog.
to you, and may there be many, many more hot dogs served in our wonderful land.
You gonna eat it?
By the
You
way-
gonna eat it?
That's not even a hot dog bun. That's like
No.
some loaf of bread that's been cut.
It
I
kind of looks
agree.
like one of those pretzels, honestly. One of those long
Well-
pretzels, right? Not a
And
tie or whatever.
If it is a
Technically,
hot
that's what
dog
it
bun,
is. Bread
they
cut.
didn't open it.
Who
Yeah.
who on his team was like, look, Mitt, Mr.
You gotta
Mitt,
love the hot dogs, man.
it's
Yeah.
National Hot Dog Day coming up. And I know that the hot dog is your favorite meat. So let's put you in the halls of Congress in a hot dog hat with a fake hot dog walking down proclaiming your love for hot dog. It'll get over
Hey.
with the kids.
This is the same thing that they do. You remember Hillary Clinton's famous picture of her with the beer and the bar full of 25? Like she goes to pubs. Hillary Clinton hangs out in pubs.
I mean,
And,
this
Don't forget she likes the hot sauce.
Also, that when they get
Or
the
was that Joe
guns
Biden?
out, Sarah Palin when she was going wolf hunting. Well, she was in a helicopter with a AK-47, and they were in a fenced-in backyard. But she was going hunting for them wolves.
I don't know. I think Sarah Palin probably punched a moose in a
Well,
lie.
she could also see Russia from her house too.
So I just find all these, pre-planned shit just hilarious.
Well, I mean, like honestly, all politicians are really stupid. Wasn't it like Ilhan Omar, whatever her name is, was like, it's the hottest it's been in like 1,200 years. I'm like, how can you? What was it like? Some caveman with a thermometer going, it's really hot today.
It's unreal.
How?
Like, just amazing how relatable these politicians are to the average person. Just amazing.
Dude, he is such a puppet that his first name is Mitt. Like literally, he's being warned by someone. Like it's.
Oh man, Winterfell
Does
says
he eat it? The hot
no.
dog
He
at all?
doesn't even
No.
eat it. He just holds it.
No, it is fake. It's fake.
You know what? I was looking. It might even be AI.
Let's keep in mind what his job was. His job was to take these whole companies and to break them up into little itty bitty bits and then keep the parts he wants. It's almost like a hot dog.
Like a
Right?
hot dog.
That's why he likes hot dogs. That's why he likes hot dogs.
Winterfell says we call him the Stormin' Mormon. He works with Megatron, not to be trusted. He's a Decepticon. So that's some reference that I don't understand. I get the Transformers. I get
Even
the Transformers.
I understood that.
Yeah, but who's Megatron?
He's the bad guy.
Yeah, but who's in real life? Who's he work with? That's Megatron. Like there's a metaphor there that I'm not getting.
Well,
So
it's definitely not. It's definitely not Biden.
Blake says
That's
hot
for
dogs
sure.
are not against Mormon religion.
Yes, they are. They're processed food. There's chemicals added to bleach the meat. That's so against Mormon religion. If it may be not against your sect of Mormon religion, but against the basic Mormon religion. Yes, it is.
So, were you a Mormon in one of your previous jobs?
I was I grew up a Mormon. Yeah.
All right, I got one more story for you, and this may be the most important story of the day. The most important story of the day. Did you know that there's a new hit movie out, which on the surface says, "Hey, young kids, go watch this movie." It's called Barbie, and we've talked about this quite extensively. The Barbie movie is out, and it is getting all the praise.
Said no one.
What's that?
Said no one.
Well, it's I feel like they kept it very close to the vest as to what the story was about. I watched a Moist Critical yesterday do its like moist meter on it, And he talked about how it's like really like a fun watch. But the second half of the movie mentions the term patriarchy like 7,000 times, and it's like that's the underlying theme of it is taking down the patriarchy and women are great. And it's like, okay, cool. Like
it's an over exaggeration. It was only 5,300. I mean, come on, Moist. Do better.
Like, here's the thing: as a father of 2 daughters, which I feel like I say that every single show. I've said that 7 times.
Wait, you have kids, Craig?
As
Dude,
a father of 2 daughters,
you're not sexist. We get it.
I feel it's very important that my daughters understand that they can accomplish whatever they want, because I truly believe that they can. Just as if I was to have 2 boys, I would tell them the exact same thing, right? But this is where the Barbie movie kind of loses me. As we go to the beacon of video game journalism, Polygon, as there's an article about, apparently this is in the movie, Cockring Ken
No way.
is in the Barbie movie. So let's talk about Cockring Ken.
Right,
Is that
Travis, you've
that
probably
Michael
been most
Cera's
familiar
character?
because of the porn stores.
I've never heard of Cockring Ken.
Great. Now you're gonna make me put Cockring Ken in my Google search.
There you go. I was wanting Craig to do it.
No, I have no interest. No interest. But the idea now, the movie is PG-13, right? And apparently he's not like in the movie, but there's a reference to this in the movie, which once again, in a movie built for 13-year-olds, does there really need to be a reference to a wiener ring if it's not Mitt Romney hot dog related? You know?
If it's subtle enough and it's for the adults, or if it was like a Robot Chicken parody sort of thing that they gain life and they threw it in the film as a funny. I don't have an issue with that, but I think if it is, then we shouldn't be bringing light to it, because then it makes more people see it. That's my only thing. If it is as bad as what we think it is,
Okay.
I've never heard of Cockring Ken.
So I just looked it up. So this, it was Earring Magic Barbie, and it was a male gay Barbie that, and at the time, apparently gay men were wearing cock rings as necklaces.
That's so subtle.
And so they put that on the doll.
This doll, I guess. Right?
So
Is he even wearing earrings?
That's
He
how
is.
and it actually it comes with a set of earrings in the box as well. I'm looking at the box there. It's on the wiki.
Oh,
Yeah.
is there a wiki for this?
Yeah.
I don't
Earring-
want to
it's-
search this in my search history.
It says Earring Magic Ken has been displayed at several museums as an example of both gay pride and brand failures, including the Missouri History Museum and the National Museum of Play. Here, I'll give you the link.
See, when you say like Barbie Museum, I automatically think of the movie Rat Race. When they go, I want to go to the Barbie Museum, and it's like the Nazi museum.
Links in the chat there.
Gotcha. So let's actually check this out. So this is one of those things that people took and then they twisted it into this Cockring Ken thing. Like
I'm sorry, what, Craig?
Cockring Ken.
You're stuttering a bit over there. You okay?
That's why they call me Stuttering Greg. Here we go. Earring Magic Ken. Now, I don't think Mattel probably ever came out and said, well, this is gay Ken. Right?
No, from what I'm reading, they were just trying to make Ken look cool, and they just used the necklace that apparently gay people were wearing.
Oh,
and it was a cock ring.
So in the 90s, that was kind of the thing was, here we go. In 1993, Carol Lawson at the New York Times responded to his unveiling at the American and International Toy Fair with the claim that, so Carol claimed that Mattel was attempting to gender bend Ken by making him appeal to boys and girls. She also suggested that selling Ken as a gender non-conforming, maybe a subtle apology for a Barbie with a voice box that said math class is tough in 1992.
Wait, but what's wrong with saying math class is tough? if it actually is. Math is hard for some people.
See, this is the weird thing. They
I
went the wrong.
apologize.
Dude, they went the wrong direction. People thought this was an anti-woman thing. No, this was an anti-Asian thing because you got to be Asian to like math in the 90s. It was back when math was math.
So check this out.
Back when
My
math
extra
was
girl can
math.
hear us.
This
Yeah.
is the consumer
Well, before 2 + 2
reception.
= 5. Put it that way.
That's right.
This is for the consumer reception of the doll. Kitsch-minded gay men responded to this press by buying the doll in record numbers, making Earring Magic Ken the best-selling Ken model in Mattel's history. The doll debuted in stores for around $11 and had completely sold out by the Christmas season, largely due to gay men buying the dolls in droves.
That's
Did you
hilarious.
ever buy a Ken doll?
No.
Oh.
This is like
So
unreal.
I've just had a terrible flashback. In '93, I was in year 3, and I got given a Ken doll.
Was it Cockring, Ken?
No, well, it might have been because I also had bleached blonde tip hair, and so did the doll. So
Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. It's hilarious. Well, I mean, the idea that I'm guessing that it's just a reference to like this earring kin, and I guess this is the slang around it. But just the idea of, once again, it's something that was taken. It was probably released with good intentions. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say that in 1993, Mattel released this with good intentions of trying to bring in a male audience who, at the time, once again, earrings were really cool and hip. This was the 1993 version of the tattoo, right? The tattoo is really cool and hip now, right?
Well, and you got to remember, people used to wear them chains, wallet chains. They used to wear chains all the time too. So,
Right.
yeah, because they're cool and they've never gone out of fashion.
I don't know. I think this is one of those examples of getting hijacked and turned into something totally different than what it was originally intended to. Just another great example.
well, and it's just a steel ring. What makes
Yeah,
it a
I mean,
cock?
it's-
What makes it a
that's what I'm
cock ring is
saying,
when
it's-
somebody puts it on their cock.
I mean,
Like,
I mean,
So
the
You can
Olympic
try. It's like that big on a doll.
it's not
The
technically a
Olympic
cock
rings
ring.
the Olympic rings are cock rings if you can fit them on your dick.
Right. So it's not technically, that's not what it is. It's just a necklace. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my god! I
Bling
listen.
bling.
Yeah,
You mean the movie says I wear 2 chains? So no.
let's go. It's ridiculous.
why would 2 Chainz let you put him on yourself?
I don't
He's getting
understand.
very
life.
desperate.
All right, then there you go. That's hard news for today.
Hard.
Best way to end hard news on a cock ring.
On one, I don't know.
I don't
Um,
like that texture in my mouth.
All right, let's talk about AI. I'm just gonna bypass that. Travis, thank you for that. Let's talk about AI. There is a big battle happening in Hollywood today. The writer's strike is happening. It is the artist, the not so starving artist, versus the artist right now, and the artist versus the artificial intelligence. That's like one of the big sticking points with this writer's strike, right? That now the actors have joined in on, which we've talked. I've read a lot about this, and there's been stories of executives saying like, look, we're just going to wait it out because at the end of the day, people are going to, they're going to have to pay their mortgages and they're not going to be able to pay their mortgages. And, we'll just wait it out because we're going to be fine and they're going to end up losing, which, is a really like cutthroat, ruthless way of looking at it. But it's also reality, So, but AI is a really big sticking point with this. And there's a lot of concern that AI will take over writing jobs and stuff. So with Grant here, who has been sold to me by Blabs as somebody who is really big into AI.
Wait a minute, Blabs, you sold him to Craig?
Yeah.
Straight
Yeah, I
up.
sold them for 10 goats.
Oh, okay.
10 goats, that's right.
You told me it was 11.
Gotta understand.
Sorry, I ate
Grant-
the other one.
Grant, you've
He
actually
was a hungry
created,
bitch.
you've created some art already today, using AI. And you're a big, I guess, are you a big proponent of AI and all the things that can be brought to it? Because I'm scared of it.
See, I initially had the same thing because, like you, I've seen Terminator, so I was just like, okay, I know where this is going. And once you get a little bit of knowledge in the whole idea, the actual idea of like AI as a thing, it's a concept versus a practical thing. It's an actual artificial intelligence is something that we cannot create. We cannot create something that has its own conscious, its own life form. Because everything that it is, it's advanced machine learning. Everything that it learns, we have to give it the input to do it. There's nothing that it does that it hasn't been told to do before. It's set within its own parameters. Unlike someone who has, like a human, you can get a human, they can do anything. They might not have ever been told how to climb a mountain, but they're going to attempt it. Where AI has a very strict set of rules that it can and can't do, and so I thought, okay, well, I want to explore a little bit more of it because I think maybe this will help me with my day-to-day stuff when it comes to some artwork. I was using AI art back when it was what they called Gen 1. So it was at the very early stages where the idea of a face that looks like a face wasn't a thing. You could get something that looked more like Picasso's art, and you'd be like, okay, I can see where it's going, but it's cool. I created that with just words.
So you said something that kind of struck me, obviously, and you're right. AI only fits into the parameters that the coder puts on it, right?
Yeah.
And all that sounds really great in theory, but here's the problem is that there's going to be someone out there who's going to code it to have no barriers. And
that's the problem. You can't create it with no barrier because it still has to have a parameter. It's a binary system. The idea of it, you can't just type in have no boundaries or anything. You've got to be able to show it what a boundary is to show it where it is, because the people throw around the term quantum computing. Once we get quantum computing, we'll get the singularity, which is where AI becomes conscious, where it becomes self-actualizing and realizing that it's actually alive. Problem is, quantum computing is something that it's impossible to do. It's talking about doing stuff on a micro level, and they're just assuming it's going to be faster than what we're able to do now. No one knows because it's all theoretical. So with that in mind, I was just like, I think AI is just like a tool. I can remember when Photoshop came out in the 90s, and people in design were like, this is ridiculous. When Illustrator come out, and they're like, well, this is going to take away jobs. This is going to do that, and it's now a part of the industry. And that's the way that I look at AI. I look at AI as a tool, and those who have the ability to use that tool to do exactly what they want are going to be the ones that succeed. When Photoshop first came out, it was very simple, and there was a lot of skepticism around it. But those who were able to take the plunge and do it, they were all the biggest designers of the 90s. They were all using Photoshop. So, and that's for me the most important part of AI is to not look at it. I look at AI the same way I look at a gun. The guns don't kill people. It's the person behind what they're doing. You can use AI to do nefarious things, yes, but the same person, if they had the skills and the abilities, could do the same thing with Photoshop or with, a painting. If they could paint a picture of someone doing something dirty and provocative, they would. It's not the tool; it's the person behind it.
Right. And people are jerks. We've learned that. We know that people are idiots, right? And the human race is a bunch of assholes who
we're all assholes.
Once again, the what is it? The path of the path to hell is paved through good intentions.
It's paved with good intentions, yeah.
Right. And I think that's very much the situation, here, right? Is you have this great tool, but people will misuse it, just like they misuse guns, right? I'm a big believer in the Second Amendment here in the United States, right? I think that that's actually very important, but that doesn't mean that there aren't people who misuse those tools, and that's kind of the fear for me with AI. But in the meantime, there are some really fun things that you can do with AI, and you've been doing them as we've been talking here.
In the creative sphere, there is a lot of stuff where it gets to the point where it's going to succeed. It's what I'm just starting to get to is programming. doing the work, and it's at the moment it's like someone who's really good at programming but terrible at debugging. It can write your program so quick, but as soon as there's an error, it's got nothing. It's just like I don't know how to fix programs. I just know how to write them. And
okay, well,
because
so
I'm actually making a side scroller game all through ChatGPT. I don't know how to code. I don't know C++ or anything like that. But I'm asking ChatGPT to show me the steps to make a game. It'll be just a simple jump. If I fall down, the floor's lava sort of scenario. And I've got friends who have done the same sort of thing, and they were able to create a game with graphics from start within about an hour to an hour and a half.
really,
Just a real basic style sort of game, something you could throw on a mobile app with ads, sort of thing. And I think that's where the innovation in the sectors that are harder to do stuff with, because it's never going to make a Mass Effect with all the complexities or The Witcher or anything like that. But something simple like a Snake game, that's cool. I'd love to make my own version of Snake. Put Blabs' head on the end of it, and a foot at the end. Gasoline's chasing her, it'd be great.
Or a flaw just eating a bunch of glizzies. Just
It's already out there.
I'm sure it is. So, well, what happens when AI starts coding itself? Can't you allow AI? Like, that's what if you set the parameters to where you allow
that's
it?
That's the beauty of it, because it can't. It's only got its own pool of information. It can try and pull from other stuff, but it has no idea what data is. It's just bits information. It doesn't know how to distinguish something. It's like the big thing about AI art is there's more AI art generated now than there ever has been art. But the problem is you can't add that art back into it, because it's like doing a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. There's a degenerative process within it. And the same thing about it coding itself. It can code a program like that, but it has no idea how to debug stuff. There's no creativity behind it. All it knows is someone's done this, so I'm going to do something similar to it. So the best that it can ever get is someplace exactly where it was. It can never achieve anything higher than that.
This is by the way, this is a video of a guy who said he made a game with ChatGPT,
Yep.
and I'm sure a lot of folks have watched this. Who are inspired by, let's say this is 1 million views. So he's going in, and these are obviously super basic games. These are games like you'd probably find like in television, way back, something silly like that. But it's interesting to kind of see that all this stuff can be done simply by telling the code what you want it to do. And
Unreal is incorporating AI into their game engines, like especially with the Unreal 5 engine. It revolutionized how to do graphics and everything in games and in movies, and now they've incorporated stuff. Now you can, with MetaHuman, I could upload a picture of Blabs and say, this is quote unquote Blabs. Now put Blabs in this scenario where she's fighting a demon. This is the asset for the demon, and it's already rigged, it's ready to go. It saves hours on the tedious work. AI is great. Well, this is how someone described it to me. It's just like AI is like having your own personal assistant that you don't have to pay.
What was the program you just said? The
Unreal Engine.
What? No, you said you that's the one where you put Blabs in.
Yeah, so there's a subset of that called MetaHuman.
Put me in software.
MetaHuman.
Yeah, so you can put you turn yourself into a digital asset 3D model that you can use in games. It's already rigged, ready to go, so you don't have to worry about lining up all the arms and everything like that. You can put that in Unreal Engine and use their AI thing to say, create a landscape that's a desert landscape. So all the tedious work of you building this thing is ready to go, and then all you have to do is set the parameters for your game, and then start building your game as you would normally. But the stuff that would have taken you 500-600 plus hours to get to that point, you can do in a matter of hours. Yeah, so it's made a PC, so.
Look at those teeth, man. Look at those teeth.
Yeah.
Right there.
This is their they've got a new expression model where it's only been released recently, where it was actually able to do proper motion, like human emotions without it looking uncanny valley sort of thing. Like, have you ever seen like an artificial human smile at you? It looks really weird, but they're starting to get really well at doing the subtleties of like the cheeks and everything.
Yeah, this goes back to like Oh God, that's crazy. That's terrifying. This right here, just
Yeah.
the teeth being shown. Yeah. But this gets back to the point where like we're still very early in the consumer facing like AI space, right? Which
Dude, a year ago, no one knew about this. This is what I'm saying.
right.
Like, this is the arc of where it's gone. Like, because as I said, I was using Midjourney, which is still the best image generation that's out there. I've been using that for a year, and from where it was to where it is now, like you literally, if you type the word stock, I can put a picture, which I'll do in a minute. I'll get a picture of each you use, and I'll just say stock footage of you at a computer or something like that, and it'll look like a photo.
Can you
And you
like?
might get
Okay, well, let's do this. Let's have the chat come up with some sort of like. How long does it take for you to come up with an image or like create an image?
So my process is I'll take the image that I've done, and I'll if I'm going to do it in Midjourney, I'll get the initial image of what it is, and then I'll take it into a face swapping application. Which at the moment what I'm doing is it's not an actual app; it's just a little bit of coding that I'm doing. Uses my graphics card. I've got a 24 gig graphics card at the moment, so I can do some rendering while I'm on screen now, which is really handy. And then I'll take it into Photoshop. I'll touch it up there using the skills that I've learned on Photoshop over the years. And then I'll bring it out. So I'm not just using one. I'm not just relying on one thing. I'm using it as a tool to give me a starting point. And even within Photoshop, they've incorporated a thing called generative fill, which is AI. I could take a picture of Blabs right now, cut around her, and say she's at a petrol station that's on fire, and it'll look like a petrol station on fire. It's still only in the beta phase of Photoshop. But yeah, it's as I said, it's a tool. It's very fascinating. I like to use it for memeing. I think that's the best thing. If you can use the humor aspect to it. I did a video today of Culture Casino and Comics Division, how they first met, and I did a deep fake of The Last of Us, the Nick Offerman episode. Have you seen The Last of Us?
I'm familiar with it, yeah.
Where he meets his boyfriend in a pit, and I duplicated their voices with a different AI coding program, and just threw all that thing together like as a culmination of different things, just to show what you can do. So that way, when this is definitely used for nefarious purposes in the future, those who are using it, like myself, are going to be like, that's fake. I can spot it a mile away. Which I've done a number of times. I don't know if you've ever watched the Full Aussie when Rhino gets bamboozled with something. I'm doing, dude. I've seen this. This is fake. I can tell you right now it's fake because I've seen the artifacting and I've seen the different things. I'm able to spot it, and I think that's part of the reason why I really got into it initially was to spot. I don't want to be in a scenario where I think something's real and it's not, because it makes you feel like a dickhead. I don't feel like a dickhead.
Right. Well, I don't know. I would love to, like, I do think that the imagery creation using AI is really fascinating, and it goes back to like why you've seen these. I don't know. I feel like a month ago we watched that like 60-second clip on the show Blabs, Trav, about where it was like the movie and it looked all like 1930s. You recall that, right? Where they're like the people were dancing and stuff, and it was all AI generated, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and they had all these different hands and eyes and stuff.
Yeah. They had 7,000 fingers or whatever, and there's like still things that need to be figured out with AI. But I just go back to like, where will this be in 6 months? Where will this be in 6 years? And
that's the scary part. That's the scary part with how it's gone. Because I know where we've progressed, but I also don't know where the plateau is. Because all technology inevitably hits its plateau where it can't go any further, energy input versus output, and we don't know where this is going at the moment. What we know is the AI, like ChatGPT sort of thing, is costing them a fortune. They're not making any money on it. Like it costs so much more money per generation that they do. It's a losing from the business side of thing. It's a losing business. It's not sustainable. That's why a lot of people are doing stuff where they can do it from their own home computer.
Mhm.
But the quality isn't as good. That's the thing, and it's not as quick.
Hazy says AI will be the end of all art.
No, that's the thing. It cannot create anything new. It can only take what's there and change it. It has no ability to create something that hasn't existed before in a completely new style.
But
It has its parameters.
See, I argue that is exactly what humans do. And this is an episode of Star Trek. There's been a few about this, that it was an artificial intelligence and they made art. Is it art because he's a program making it? I say yes, because what do humans do? When we grew up, we see different art. We see different things, and we take that into our mind and then make our own. And I think that's exactly the same thing.
I get what you're saying, but when it comes to the actual program, like no one did Picasso until Picasso came along. You know, his style of stuff. AI couldn't produce that if Picasso never existed.
Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe new styles of
that's
art
what I'm saying. Without the input, there is no output. At the moment, AI art is as best it's ever going to be until something better gets introduced into its thing. It's not going to create more than what it's able to do.
Yeah, but if you were to say, put the premise this way, could it create a unique piece of art in a specific style? I think yes.
Even though but that style has to exist for it to reference.
So it could look at hundreds of different variations of it and put it together. Right.
I think this would be we talk about our roundtable discussions. Like, this is a phenomenal roundtable discussion to have.
Add it to the list.
Yeah. To bring on people who are proponents of AI versus those who are anti-AI, right? I think this is would be such a, because I'm not educated enough on it, right? I look at it from the outside in and I say, well, I see both sides of it. I see how this pushes creativity. I also see how it why people would be concerned, right? I get it. I think it's easy to laugh at the Hollywood situation and the writer's strike, and I do think that it's coming pretty much at the worst possible time for them. That they're striking at the worst possible time, but I understand why they're striking, and because they want to protect their jobs. They're fearful of their jobs. They're fearful that these things could be could take away their jobs full time. If they're
it's one of the only times that I think AI could actually take away their jobs, based purely and simply on the fact that all they're producing is garbage. When you're writing a story by committee, you're never going to get a singular vision, and that's the problem. That's why everything is so scattered. We did a thing on Comics Division where we wrote an episode of Mandalorian, and it was a very simple premise. It was just like, write this episode of Mandalorian based on the information that you know about Mandalorian, and it was literally, it created its own fetch quest within it, because that's all it knows, because that's what the Mandalorian turned into. Go here, do something needs to be done. We got to go over here, do this, do that. And it was actually a better story than anything we got in season 3. That was the sad part about it. It was actually seemed more entertaining, and it was a dog shit garbage story. But that's where it's coming from, because they're not putting in any actual individual effort to create new stuff, because they've got rules. You can't offend this. You can't do that. You can't do that. In other words, they're putting, like AI has its own restrictions on what it can and can't do. They're doing that to human creativity. So therefore, everything that's a little bit less fettered is able to succeed better. Like I could put in a prompt now, and we could do a little short story that includes all of us, and it'll probably be better than anything that's come out of Hollywood recently.
I have a larger question for everybody, I guess, anybody, but especially you, Grant. What is sentience to you? And if a program is creating a unique work of art, does that prove some sort of sentience? What is your qualification for sentience, and what things should we look for? I mean, do you think AI is approaching being sentient when it can create new things.
For me, I think the idea of sentience for AI is a philosophical question more so than an actual real life application. Like an AI can pass the Turing test. They've been able to do that for ages. If there was how do you test whether something is thinking or not? You know, I think therefore I am is the scenario. Like that's sentience. But we're programming that into it. Therefore, is it thinking or is it just replicating what inputs that we've had? You can't create an AI. An AI can't create something from itself because it's eventually always been programmed. What we have is a different kind of programming as humans. There comes a certain point, even if you've been given no actual input or learning, you realize you're a person, that you exist.
So
If you've been given no stimulation in the world, at some certain stage you realize that I exist. And
a follow-up question then, I guess, do you think if an AI were to create new code to have a new self-thought, would that then be awareness and sentience?
so let me say this. Let me play the other side of this, and that what if somebody coded it? You know, I think when it's something sentient, right? Creating imagery does not make something sentient, right? If you say, make me an image of this or write me a script of this, that doesn't make it sentient, right? That's going based off the parameters of it. But as soon as it obviously becomes self-aware and it can do it by itself, and before you going to it saying, make me an image or write me a script, it's like, hey, I wrote you this script because I think you'd do this, right? Just like a person would. But there's also the aspect of, if you were to, you could say, hey, Chat GPT, are you sentient? It'd be like, no, I'm coded to respect the boundaries of whatever, right? But it could also be lying. You know, like it could be coded to tell you that it's not sentient.
But if it's coded, then it's not sentient. That's the problem. That's where we get into, because essentially it's saying it has free will. To be a sentient being, you have your own free will of thought.
Right, and that's why I asked that follow-up question to you, Grant, was if something we coded then develops its own program to do something that it wanted to do, would that then be sentience?
It wouldn't be sentience in the fact that it's using the knowledge that like the inputs that we've given to create an output within its own parameters. If it created,
but what if what it creates changes its parameters?
But it's still coding. That's the problem. That still falls within the parameters of what we've created. Coding is coding. If it created something that wasn't a binary ones and zeros machine code, if it created something like that, or some sort of fusion,
a new language or something.
Well, I mean, even languages are essentially the same stuff, because languages are just patterns that something is born to recognize, and computers have been creating their own languages for years. Right. Every time that you get a graphics card, it has its own codecs and everything like that. That's its own individual language. But if it was to create something that interacted outside of its parameters, if it was able to communicate with, say, for instance, trees, then that would prove that, because that's something outside that we can't do. That's something outside of its shell, outside of its bubble.
So it would almost have to be something that's never done before by a human.
Essentially, if you want to take a religious side of it, it has to do the one thing that humans can't do. It has to create life. We can give birth to kids. We're not creating life. We're transferring energy in life. We're not creating something completely brand new from scratch. Well, it has to have the power of a god.
Well,
to be able to do it.
Once again, let's just say, and allow me to kind of throw a wrench into that, right?
But before you do this, I just love discussions like this. This is why I used to watch Star Trek, is for these moral dilemmas, because I find it fascinating. I don't know the answer.
And I think that's actually, like, we definitely need to have a bigger conversation about this. And I think that there definitely needs to be a pro AI and an anti AI conversation. But with that said, right, you're saying, well, if it reproduces, right, if it spawns, right, other things, why? AI spawns other programs all the time. It can write programs. It's a spawn of itself, right? It's based
But I'm
off something else.
saying it's still doing something within its parameters. Like if you were able to, your wife, have kids, you are creating life, but you're doing it within the parameters of being a human. If you're able to, if she was able to give birth to a completely new species, that's creating a new life, something that never existed. That's something that we as humans have no capabilities of doing. That's our programming within our genetics. It's the same thing. It's instead of our programming being genetics, it's machine code. It's ones and zeros. If it was able to produce something that is outside of its capabilities, and people always go, well, it creates a new program. That's still within that's still within the capabilities of program.
Right, because it's still ones and zeros, right?
It's still ones and zeros. It's still machine code. It's still in that shell. Like a website can create a million different colors, but it's still locked into that color. Try and create a color that no one's ever seen before.
Yeah,
it's the same thing of asking AI to do that.
And then
there's no capabilities of it.
Then is it even in our visible spectrum? But that's another question.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like you can't fathom it. You can't fathom the idea because it has no ability to fathom anything.
Right. So I have another question. Sorry, Craig. If we were, have they put AIs in quantum computers yet? Have they?
There's no such thing as a quantum computer.
Okay.
Quantum computing is a theory.
Well, I mean, with the qubits and all that shit, those things that they're using.
They put it in advanced computers and everything like that, and all that does is just make things happen faster. It doesn't produce better results or different results. It's just faster results.
Faster. Okay.
Here's the big thing. Static Blue says, then shouldn't we be concerned about who gets to set the parameters, right? And I think that's I think most people's concerns when it comes to what are the parameters of AI, right? And that goes back to, the path to hell is paved through good intentions, right? But I do think this is a really good conversation. I think we could have like a 3-4 hour conversation on this, with a roundtable thing that just goes on and on and on, and not really solve anything, but at least hear different perspectives, because there's nothing really to solve here. But
yeah, I love how you put it within the parameters, because now I'm thinking, well, even if you asked it to create its own parameters, you would have to program it to create those parameters. Yeah. So then it's within its parameters, and so it makes you think.
The parameters are set by its physical and, like in our term, our biological casing.
Right.
Our DNA can only do certain things. Evolution is something where it slowly changes over time, but it's still set within the boundaries of what we can do.
Right.
If all of a sudden we could fly without propulsion or anything, that's something extraordinary that would be outside of the bounds of what we can do.
Right. Let's go and read a couple super chats. As Lethal Lightning came in with that $2. Appreciate that, Lethal Lightning. And Blake says, first of all, AI has 2 letters. Appreciate that.
No. It's AI.
Paul gifted a membership to Holly. Hey, Paul, thank you so much for that. Holly, I'm sure you said thank you to Paul. That's great. And Dude came in over on Rumble, says Shad from Shadiversary would be a great pro AI person for the roundtable. I think that's,
he used it to do his book and everything. He saved a lot of time with concept art and that. So yeah, like if you've got a lower budget and you want to produce something, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I see the future being so fascinating when kids learn how to use AI real young, and then they're using it like we do our phones. It's just gonna blow my old mind.
There's a lot here. And like I said, we're going to add this to our roundtable discussion. I actually think it'd be very important to do it sooner than later, actually, because with the Hollywood strike, this is something where I think people could get, a lot of interesting information about it, and be a great discussion. We do have some memes to hit before we wrap today. And we do have a super chat coming in from Winterfell. It says, before you guys wrap, I'm not even going to ask this question because I don't even want to know, because Blabs played it without me. But Blabs, did you enjoy Halo? I haven't even played it. AI plays a major role in that story. When do you play that, Blabs?
When? I haven't decided yet. Probably next couple of weeks, honestly.
Yeah, without me, that's fine.
You'll be okay, Craig.
Shut up. Winterfell, thank you very much. I see a lot of people suggesting talking to Billy from the Game Chasers about AI. I think it'd be really fun. I guess he's pretty anti-AI. Is that right? Or is he pro-AI? Anybody know?
I don't know. That's the thing. Like, it would be an interesting discussion because he's more in the world of the programming sort of thing. So, some people look at AI in the programming as it's a godsend. It saves me a lot of time. But other people are like, I've got so much debugging to do. I'm spending more time debugging its mistakes than I would if I just wrote this from scratch. I can write a program in 3 hours, usually debug it in 3 hours. I'm now writing a program in 3 minutes, debugging it for 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, and I don't necessarily think you have to be anti or pro AI. You could find it interesting and still have it scare you, in my mind.
Blabs, can you make sure Billy's added to the list of
Yep, I already did it just now.
Thank you.
Because I find all this fascinating, and the question of morality in life and what is, where this is going, but it scares me a little bit,
I think that's natural. I think you feel like a lot of people feel, and there's anytime you're dealing with the great unknown or just any unknown, there's trepidation, All right, let's go check out some of these memes real quick before we wrap up. As always, thank you so much for the legion of for popping in. Before we get to them really quick, Grant, would you be interested in making today's thumbnail for the episode using some AI?
100%.
Cool. What did we say earlier? We said it was
John Stamos and
John Stamos versus AI. I've got a couple of images that I can work from. I need to do a little bit of work in Photoshop for them because apparently a lot of times when you do a versus and you have two different things, it just duplicates them. So yeah, I've got like John Stamos holding a fist to John Stamos, and I'm like, not exactly what I was after.
How about John Stamos fighting alien robots?
I just realized how Blab got the gas on her foot. The AI that we've been talking about today in the future creates a time machine, goes back, and splashes gas on her foot.
Did you just read that from like ChatGPT or something?
No, I just.
Well, I did use ChatGPT to ask it to do an epic adventure story about all four of us. So we could potentially read that a little bit later if you like.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's check out these memes really quick. This is obviously from No Green Rocks. This is Eau de Toilette, the Blabs collection.
To be honest with you, that smells like pure gasoline.
They've done studies, 60% of the time it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, let's go see if we can make this little kitty purr.
What is that? It smells like a turd covered in burnt hair.
Love it. Jonathan Davis came. Oh, this is one of my favorites. It says Blabs this morning. Be careful with the music. I know exactly what this is, and this is exactly what it is. It's Jitterbug. Yeah. This is from Zoolander, the famous gasoline fight. There we are. Oh my gosh, Blab's just having a great time. Oh, look at how much fun I'm having here. Oh, look at those quick changes.
Jesus.
Oh, this is Blabs getting ready to go get caught fire. That's such a great scene.
Dang.
Love it. Then we have this one from No Green Rocks. Thanks so much, buddy. Appreciate the support. Oh, hold on. Let me see. It says, hanging out with Trav is quite a trip, especially with the new side scrollers blend.
Dopest dope I've ever smoked. Hands down, dopest dope I've ever smoked. Right
Not
here.
better than the Blue Oyster Weed. It can't be.
My friend,
I can't handle better than that.
This is like if that Blue Oyster shit met that Afghan Kush I had, and they had a baby, and then meanwhile that crazy Northern Light stuff I had, and the super red espresso snowflake met and had a baby, and by some miracle those two babies met and fucked. This would be the shit that they birds.
Wow.
Yes.
That guy there looks like a quarter pounder, man.
Hey, be careful with that shit, man.
Is it heavy stuff, man? Will it blow me away? I've been smoking since I was born, man.
Awesome. we are now weed, which is great. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, No Green Rocks. And here we go. We got this one also from No Green Rocks. It says, Trav, what did you expect from me? See what he has to say.
I love them in buns. I love them outside of buns. I love them with baked beans. I just like hot dogs. It's the best.
I like them in my mouth. I like them in my ass. I like them in my.
Timestamp 1 hour on the dot. Thank you, Travis.
All right, sending that to No Green Rocks. Here we go.
There we go. Love it.
I love that. That's great.
And then we have this this final one over here from No Green Rocks. Says Blabs is a master of haggling. No less than 10 goats. He told me 7 goats. It's called making a profit, robot man. There you go. Thank you. Love it. All right. And there you go. You said you had something created AI that you wanted to share with us, Grant? Did I miss that?
Yeah, I think like I've talked about some of the positive, but I also want to show some nightmare fuel. So I just took a screenshot of what we were doing, and I asked AI to tell us what happens in the next 4 seconds.
Oh.
So
all right.
I'll just share that now. So
please, I'm very much anxious looking forward to this.
All right. So yeah, these are probably nightmare fuel. So it's already started to warp us a bit. So
that's how I look normally.
Yeah. So as you can say, AI is definitely coming
Side
for your
scrollers
jobs,
on
which
drugs.
is sort of yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering why Craig's hair grew like.
Yeah. I'm just saying this is what it thinks was going to happen. You apparently have the ability to, evaporate and then reappear, and Blabs has no eyes. So
and apparently I went from a hoodie to a suit jacket to a button up.
Wow, you got a little wardrobe, huh?
That's terrifying.
I look like Brennan Schaub. So yeah, as I said, yeah, you should be worried about AI. It's coming for everyone's job. It is flawless.
Well, there we are. Okay. Thank you for allowing me to sleep horribly at night tonight. That's wonderful. Listen, I need everybody to do us all a favor and head over and follow this kind gentleman, Mr. Grant Gregory, over on Kick. Let's do a quick refresh. You got to be over 100 at this point, right? Let's see. Come on, baby. You're at 99 followers. Who's going to be 100 over here? Kick.com/MrGrantGregory. Hit the follow button over there. And if you want, you can also subscribe to him on YouTube, because he's at almost 100,000 subscribers there. We're going to do our best to get him there so he can buy himself the $100,000, the 100,000 subscriber.
And then delete his channel.
Well,
yes.
They did tell me the way in which it would help. I've got the YouTube guy that I have that I speak to maybe once every 6 months said the easiest way to make sure you get monetized is you have to delete approximately about 75 million views from your channel.
Well,
so yeah.
What? Hold on. Let's do a quick 75 million views. Your most popular video.
Yeah, I got there through exploiting the shorts algorithm.
Oh, wow!
So I've got a couple of shorts that are over 10 million each.
So what they're saying is they don't want to pay you for like.
Yeah, man. You look at that. Look at these millions of views. These shorts. That's crazy.
So what I've done with those is I've taken them, I've shortened them down, I've changed the color palette, I've flipped, mirrored them, changed the voices, replaced the background to make sure that they're copyright free and everything like that. They were all happy with that. The moment that I hit 10 million views on one of them, all of them got hit on the same day. And then 3 days later, my channel got hacked, and I was supporting Binance apparently. So
YouTube really needs to get a hold on this runaway shit. They need to hire more employees and stop having
get better AI.
Yeah, stop having anything be ran by computers until they can actually not make me look like I have 6 shirts on in 4 seconds.
Oh, that's crazy. All right, guys, I'll be back. Here's once again, I want to remind everybody watching today. We're gonna have a Rumble exclusive stream this afternoon. We got 2 more streams today. I'm gonna come back today. Today is the day I'm beating Yoshi's Island after over a month since I started it. Today is the day I beat it. I'm on 6-2. I'm gonna make my way through 100%. Beat that today, and then later on around 5:30 Central Time. I'm going to we're going to be watching Slam Ball, and that's going to be exclusively over on rumble.com/sidescrollers. Join me over there. I would love to see you guys there. So please head over to rumble.com/sidescrollers. Hit the follow button. I'd love to see you there. That way I can actually show the game and react to it in real time, and you guys can watch it along with me as opposed to here on YouTube and on the Twitches. So. With that said, we got a lot coming up, and I look forward to seeing you guys very, very shortly, about roughly 30, 45 minutes from now. Probably closer to 1:30 or so Central Time. So I'll be back with Yoshi's Island. But in the meantime, Grant, thank you very much for joining us today. Super fun and really interesting conversation. Really interesting. Blabs, great job. Trav, great job. You guys go follow Blabs over on Kick. And
can I plug something real fast?
Absolutely not. There you go. So you guys can follow Travis over on Twitter at SidescrollersTrav, and definitely don't listen to what Blabs is about to say.
Okay, hi guys. If you want to follow the full Aussie channel, we are very close to 700 subs, and if you missed my eThought watch, like on Kick, you can watch the summary of it on that channel. So I'm just saying, watch it. We were making fun of Amaranth, a whole bunch of other bitches who were taking a shower. It was weird. Mazza was happy. Grant was happy. I was like, okay, butts. Anyway, I'll put the link in the chat. You're welcome. The end.
Sounds good. There you go. All right. With all that said, guys, thank you very much for tuning in today. Appreciate you. Go subscribe to Grant over on YouTube at MrGrantGregory. As you can see right there, people that was being asked in the chat, where do we find? You can find him CDI right there. And of course, follow Trav and Blabs, and of course, keep up to date with me right here on the Side Scrolls podcast channel. You guys have a great day. I'll see you guys very shortly for the Mario Funathon. It continues. I want you guys there today. Let's keep it going. You guys have a great day. Remember, people are going to try to keep you down. Don't let them. You guys got a goal. Go get it. We'll see you guys later on. Bye-bye.